What's up, guys? It is Modern Craftsman Monday. This week we have Andrew Patterson from Patterson Custom Homes over in Newport Beach, California. We really dig into client care and how that has built his business and what he's done to implement things all the way up into the app that they just created.
He's a ball of energy.
Yeah, I suggest you hold on tight, grab a notebook, and
yeah, if you guys are listening to this at 1.5 speed, let's just go ahead and peel that back to 1.
Yeah, slow that down. Dude, hold up. I love your energy already. Like I wish we did this at 6 a.m. so I could be like on point for like the whole week coming up. Like it should have been a Monday 6 a.m. podcast. So it's like
I came out of the womb this way. Everyone always asks me, "What the hell? How much coffee you drank?" Because I'm not that much. I just like get so excited, man. We're so blessed to breathe, be alive. We only got a couple years on the earth, and every day you're alive is one day closer to being dead. So you gotta just crush it every single day. Is what I think.
Well, we heard that you closed that deal that you blew us off on for the other day.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. I just wanted to give you a little crap.
No,
that's good.
ABC, baby. Always be
closing.
Damn right.
So how are you? How's things?
Everything is really good. It's a very, very strange time with the COVID and all this stuff going on. It's been actually. I'm not sure how you guys are on the East Coast and what's going on there, but we were deemed essential industry. The building, all of construction in the state of California was deemed essential.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of when it first happened. They said, Newsom, our governor, got on and said, everything is shut down, as of tomorrow. And everyone's like, oh my God, because in our business, it goes. It's when you're dealing with receivables and it's a very, our business is not like most people's business where it's, some guy's got to pay you, you owe the money, but like, the door jam was coming from, Bangladesh. And then like the part for the fitting came from, someplace in Norway and it didn't work out. So now the guy's holding like $150,000 retention payment for you. So, but like you got to pay the concrete guy and the job that's starting next week. So that you're going to get paid for when he's halfway done. So you can't like stop construction. Our cash flow is how all of these jobs, these businesses are run. That you can't just like stop. So when the Newsom's like, we're going to stop everything tomorrow, it's like, whoa, excuse me. You can't just like stop a 400 car train, on a dime. It's going to take me time to shut down. I got to like,
right.
How do I lock the job? Do I put a camera on there, some security? Like a bomb's gonna shit in there. Like what am I supposed? Like some kid's gonna go ride his bike, dropping on on his BMX on my 40-foot deep excavation. Like what's that gonna look like? So you can't shut these things down. Like hey, shut the door. No more haircuts. For a week. This it's a whole different deal. For us.
Well, what's crazy? What you touched upon there was just the whole payment process thing.
Yeah.
Is that like I always say the same thing Ben and I talk about at my partner, and it's like, even if we slow down, like we find ourselves using a lot of our profit to keep jobs rolling, to keep guys paid, because if you even slow down, that's your production on your next invoice. So if you say, hey, I'm waiting for this $100,000 and then I don't keep moving along at the steady pace that we do, then it's going to screw up the next 2 months of what we have for our project. So you touched upon it a little bit, but it is a crazy kind of cycle that we live in for our business.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I follow. I don't follow you. I don't think on Instagram. I don't follow on Instagram you, but I follow Nick.
Do I follow him? No, sorry, I don't have anybody over there, but I figured it would be cool if I had a handler.
Yeah, I've got. You can't say I got like a grip holding a microphone, boom mic. I got like a makeup production. I got a trailer out back. Going down here.
You don't even have Wi-Fi.
Just Steph. Yeah, I got no damn Wi-Fi.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, no Wi-Fi. All I got is a Stephanie.
My Wi-Fi is so good right now.
Who's this guy? Where'd you come from? Who's that guy?
It's like the nicest Wi-Fi.
Where'd that guy come from?
It's like the nicest Wi-Fi I've ever seen.
Do you have a hype man? You have a hype. You brought a hype man at the podcast. Where'd that guy come
I am.
from? The guy with the gray shirt.
I'm the hype guy.
Oh, I love this. This is awesome.
I didn't realize. I forgot he's on his phone, so he's only getting one person at a time.
Yeah. I've only seen the two of you for 5 minutes. The hype man shows at the background. It's like, yeah.
No, I'm the IT guy. I just keep their internet up and running.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So what you were saying is that back to sort of the payment process and how the whole flow works. It really is such a crazy balancing act. But I was referencing what Nick does is I follow Nick, and it's different than how it is in California, where you guys have all of it seems like your own workforce, like your own carpenters, like you're actually doing the work, because the NS builders t-shirts on, the guy's like rabbiting a jam and he's like working on a saw. We can't do that where we are because the workman's comp. Some contractors do it that way. But for the most part, the custom home builders, we're paper contractors. So we're subcontracting everything. So I could imagine if it happened, the same situation, with you, if you had a shutdown, it would be 10 times more intense, because your payroll of all these workers you have that are actually doing the work. Where for me, I owe an invoice to a subcontractor for, X amount of dollars. Like you owe like Steve and like Mike and, and the guys that work for you,
Well, Andrew, a little background before we go down this road. So myself, contractor, project managers, carpenters on staff. John is set up probably more similar to you, where project managers overseeing and subcontracting a lot of work, and then Tyler's
hype man, the hype guy.
Man. he's
slash IT
1 to 2 man show. So we have that, which really makes this dynamic really cool, because it's kind of all three scenarios when it comes to remodeler or builder. So I think John is in a very similar position where, as you guys, as being, as you call it, a paper builder.
Right. And so when these things do kind of happen, when these shutdowns, I have a staff of 25 people. So we have a lot of overhead. However, we've got, 40 or 30 or 40 projects that we're currently doing. So the numbers are just bigger.
Slow that all down. I need you to put that in neutral and kind of break it all down, because you just breezed over a huge amount of stuff. Yeah. How many employees? So I looked through your website and I saw that like product managers, a lot of young people in your company, which is really cool. But product managers and then project coordinators, like, can you break it down more for us on what your employee structure is?
Yeah. So we have basically I'm the one that just drives around all day and causes problems. And then directly under me is the chief of piece picker upper of all the damage I do around town. Her name is Heather. And she's the one that basically coordinates and facilitates to all the different people down below. And she's our head of operations. And she's kind of like Oz. She works remotely, and she's not really around that much. But she basically, her and I together, created basically and built all this up over the last, 16 years or whatever. She's an incredible woman, and didn't really know anything about construction, but she's an incredibly talented and smart person when it comes to knowing how processes work, and and pushing processes through to implement them across all the different platforms. So below Heather, there's basically 3 different wings. There's the project manager side, which is a guy named Ben, and he's the head of the project managers, and he has 1 or 2 of his own projects, but he also manages all of the guys who have underneath them all between 2 and 3 projects each. And there's 6, 7 of those guys. I mean, there's nothing there right now.
There's 10 under them.
Who's in my company? How many people do I have in my company?
Well, all right. So there's a lot of people under Ben, I guess, as we look at that.
You are amazing.
Yeah. And then underneath, then Ben's counterpart is Kelly, and she is the head of project coordination. And so that's sort of where we separate ourselves from other builder in town. one of the ways, there's two ways, is the first of the two, where the coordinators basically are the face of the project. So Kelly has one or two of her own projects, but then she has, I'm gonna mess this up, she has 4 coordinators under her, right? She has 4 coordinators under her, and each coordinator has about 3 or 4 projects. And the coordinators are all women, and they all are basically in charge of all of client interaction, all of these, Lisa's called me like 4 times. Are we telling them on a podcast, make sure it's on emergency? So she's in charge of basically the specifications of the project, meeting with the designers, meeting with the clients every week, making sure the decisions are being made per the decision schedule, so to keep the projects on track. So that's basically the office side. Then the third part of it is our aftercare and our warranty service part of it. We are started a project. It's called Custom Care, and it's it came out of the fact that I live in a town where I've built 380 houses in the last 20 years, and I can't go anywhere without seeing my clients, which is a really good thing. I'm happy with my clients, but I can't go to a restaurant. I can't go to like Gelson's or that stuff. So I don't want to be in a situation. I got my 3 kids, and all of a sudden I'm like trying to get some bread or some shit for down the aisle. It's like, oh my God, kids, there's Mr. So and so coming. You go hide. His roof leaks. We gotta we gotta go to the other aisle. So, but Mom's gonna get the bread. You gotta go to get the bread. So I don't want to see Mr. Smith. You gotta go with me. So
I feel like that happened once, and then you started a system.
Yeah, it's happened multiple times. Yeah. I can basically say what I really feel and move away, or I can do what I don't want to do to get it done to live here. I'll leave it at that. How's that sound?
Smart.
But it's a great community. I enjoy being here, but there's a lot of things that as builders, I'm sure where things happen after the fact, and you kind of look at it and go like, wow, is that like a warranty issue, or is that like a deferred maintenance issue? And obviously in the client side, it's always
or is it a wish list?
It's always a warranty issue. Yeah. Exactly. But so we basically came up with a process, and one of my what happened? Turn off. My hype person just blew up the whole system over there. Is your hype guy? I want the hype guy working for me now. I have no reverb on this side.
I'll have to see. We haven't even discussed rates yet.
No, this phone's fine. This is fine. You guys can hear me, right? You want me to switch to the computer? Or is this fine?
The computer.
You might be able to see all of us.
Yeah, you can see all of us if you're on the computer.
I keep seeing 3. You guys cycle. It's fine.
All right.
Is this your first podcast?
What's that?
Is this your first podcast?
This is my second.
He did Brad at AFT.
So I'm so sorry I wasn't your first.
Seriously.
But I'm not going to lie to you. I tell everyone else I was their first, but I wasn't yours. So
how many podcasts have we done? Anybody? Sorry, I was just checking on my people.
It's all right. He's our 116th. So
There we
I love it. A lot of my clients in this area are really successful entrepreneurs, and one of my clients is a computer developer. And I told him one day my problems, like, I just have all these questions every single day. I get the same client problems. They say, I need a power washer. I need my HVAC grills are dirty. There's hair in my P-traps. My air conditioner never works. My decks need to be resurfaced. And it's like, do you have a guy for that? And I'm constantly getting you only have 20 hours in a day to be with your kids, run your business, answer phone calls. It all takes time. So how do I take all this minutia of, I call it the tail. Like every time you build a house and finish it, and Nick and I were kind of talking about this at the builder show. Every time you finish a house, your tail gets longer, right? Your tail gets longer and longer and longer and longer. But the trick of business is to get your tail, nice and clean and pretty and long, but not ever trip over it, right? If your tail gets too long, you'll start tripping over it and you can't go forward, right? So how do you keep that tail tight and clean and perfect, right? Well, for me, since we're doing so many houses, my tail gets longer and longer by 10 houses a year, right? So this program that we wrote, it basically is an algorithm of basically a yearly schedule and it takes all the home's, 30 or 40 basic things that people call you on: power washing, cleaning the vents, clean the P-traps, clean your barbecue, like, so it doesn't catch on fire with the grease. All the stuff like I'm sure, you do with this, Nick, dude, like, my cabinets are all sagging by 1/8 of an inch. It drives me nuts. Oh, my faucet is loose. But you got to like stop your day, call a plumber, find out when they're there. So what this program does, it basically, it takes all these items and categorizes them all. And I pay for the this custom care person who full-time guy. Then his job is to basically show up on the day of the appointment, let the vendor in, and then the vendor does the work. They leave, and he basically Venmos the phone, because the client's prepaid for the service every year. It's like $4 or $5 grand a house per year, and the client gets the vendor gets paid that day, the second they're there, and we issue a report saying the work was done, and it's kind of like a Carfax but for a house.
Can I stop you for a second? So
yeah.
You said it's roughly $4 or $5 grand a year for the house. Is that just to buy into the service, or is that inclusive of all the tasks that they request? Or are you?
Yeah, it's a pass through. No one would do it if a client had to pay the actual cost of the work. They would never do it. So it's not a money making thing by any means. It's the way I look at it is that it only costs me. I only lose $100,000 a year to run the service, right? But in exchange for that, I don't have, all these disputes about, is that a maintenance issue, right? That your deck leaked, or is it a warranty issue that your deck leaked? Okay.
So you're paying out of pocket $100 grand a year for the home to maintain the homes. How is that? How are you making up that $100 grand on the other side?
By not spending $400,000 to $500,000 a year in disputes on to live in the community I live in. Because when someone says my deck leak, it's a warranty issue, but you look around, there's like cigarette butts and leaves and shit all over the place, and like, it hasn't. The guy's got like 2 brand new Ferraris in his garage. He gets washed every single week. He's never washed his house once in 12 years. But like, he looks at it and goes, well, my deck did leak. It's a piece of shit. What's up with this? It's like, have you washed your house in 12 years? Washed my house. What for? It rains, but that's because people don't take care of their houses. It's just something that people just don't do. Sure. And I don't know why. You buy $100,000 Range Rover, right? Or whatever. And you drive it down the street, and, they, drive it for like 20, 30,000 miles. And all of a sudden the highway, the thing stops. Like, what the hell's wrong with this thing? Brings to the guy, goes, well, sir, have you changed the oil? It's been 4 years. Change the oil for what? Yeah, we got to put oil in it. It's like, no, I gave you the $100 grand for the car. I bought the best car you can buy. So, well, you still got to change the oil. Well, no one told me that. No one told me to change the oil in the car.
I agree with you 100% on this.
And then he said, but I gave you a manual. I gave you a manual. You bought the car. You got a manual. And I said, so I don't read that shit. Threw it in the glove box. I don't read manuals. And it's the same thing, right? Here we go. Hey, there's no hot water in my house, Patterson. Your house, some shitty builder. What's the hell? There's no hot water. It's been 2 years. Well, this is the most highest efficient Navian hot water heater. If you descaled it, what do you mean? Well, sir, I gave you the manual how to descale the water heater every 2 years. Hey, there's water coming out of my ceiling. What's wrong with this piece of shit? Well, hold on, your wife's got like 6 foot long black hair in your P-trap. Have you snaked out your P-trap in 3 years? Well, you know that all your condensate water comes into your wall and drains above your P-trap in your sink, right? No, that's a house issue. It's nothing to do with me. Yeah, but you have to clean your P-trap like we told you. No, I don't. No one told me that. Because the same way that it's common sense for anyone to change oil in their car, why is it not common sense to someone to descale their water heater, to charge their air conditioner with Freon, to clean out their P-traps, to clean out the grill on their air conditioning vents, right? Well, people just don't do that.
Well, I think part of this is, Toyota, if we go back to like car analogies, Toyota a couple of years ago started to do like 2 years maintenance free, meaning they would include that in their vehicle because it made their vehicle more valuable because you saw less of them pulled over on the side of the road, being towed, all this stuff, and it made people have less worry. You're eliminating that worry from your home, meaning there's less and less people that know anything about homes every day of the week. And people say, hey, this plug doesn't work. so like you, I build homes. Someone goes, hey, I don't know why this plug's not working. I'll drive over there. I'll check on it. It's a GFI.
GFI.
Yeah, it's
Boom,
a button you have to
GFI, every
push.
time.
But how do I get paid for that moment in time? I'm doing that for my client all the time, whether it's, that toilet's rocking or whatever it is. I'll go and look at it because I want to be responsible and responsive. But at the same time, I've had a problem where I'm doing it anyways. But then am I following up with that $50 invoice or that $125 invoice, or, hey, my AC doesn't work. Have you changed the filters ever? Like, the dog is there, so it's filling up all your filters, but no one's thinking of that stuff because they only want their TV, their kitchen stuff working. I've had houses where we do $10,000 a year in maintenance on it because they live in it like college kids. It's a 12,000 square foot house, and they live in it like that door doesn't work. So they keep just slamming it shut as if it's going to fix itself, and then everything else is dinged up, and we have to go there and repaint the cabinets. But I guess it's just being there for their clients, because a lot of people also say when you're finishing a house, they recognize that you're moving on to something else because you have to. So how do you make them feel comfortable where they don't want to have leverage on you at the end of the build to hold a ton of money behind, so that way you're going to stay and focus on them and not move on to this next build that you're starting? So by having that, maintenance and warranty or a concierge division or home care, that eliminates that whole need for them trying to hold on to more to keep you there.
Well,
Correct. And also, back to your Toyota analogy, there's probably no, I don't know what the statistic is, but how many people bought Toyotas while they're waiting around in the service area looking at new Toyotas while the Toyota was getting serviced, right? So
true,
I'm constantly in front of these people's houses, right? And I got this custom care service truck, all nice, like some nice wheels on it and shit. And, the neighbors walking the dog to come out. Because it's not like where you live in the East Coast, like everyone's all like in blankets and shit, all cold, stuck in their house. Like Newport, like Christmas time, it's like 80 degrees outside, people outside walking the dog, doing fitness. And then people are like, oh my God, what's with that truck with the nice wheels? The guy's in there, custom care, what's that? It's like, that house got finished 4 years ago.
Hold on, didn't half your state burn to the ground last year?
Here it comes.
Like, dude, what are we talking about? And then didn't it try and break off from the rest of the U.S. a couple of years ago, like a decade ago? I don't know, man. I'm just saying. It's a good give and take here.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was your governor.
Seriously?
Oh my gosh. Hype man's got his windows closed. He's probably got a snow outside his window. Doesn't want to rub it in. Hype man, roll your window up.
It's rain.
No, so I guess what I was tripping over, and I think what I'm realizing is that I'm looking at it as we offer maintenance to our clients, but what you're doing is you're doing automatic maintenance to the problem areas. Anything beyond that, if they're calling you to do something beyond that, that's additional, like, quote unquote, small project work that you can bill for. The $5,000 a year that you're doing, that's all preventative, and that's automatic. It's not something that they opt in for.
It's prescriptive.
Yeah,
it's prescriptive. So you can. So here's the best part about it. Like, I love the service, and it's great because it gives us tons of business. But the back door of the service is why we really love it. Is because if you don't do it, the service, you electively decline it, and we email you saying that's how the program works. That's why it's a program. It's for sale. And it's for builder. I'm not trying to plug or anything, but it's a platform that you can subscribe to as a builder, and it's all automatic, right? You have to set up your own subcontractors, your own vendors, everything like that, and but the algorithm and stuff, it all works. So the best part about it, as it's to keep your tail short, is, you built 2 houses, 3 houses, one person, maybe a project manager, you do 2 or 3 houses, 4 or 5 houses. It's probably not going to work. You don't need it. But if you live in Palm Beach or New York City or Boston, where you live, and you've got these super high-end homes and you're doing, 10 houses, a year, you have to be able to monitor your tail, right? So what the program does is if you don't do it, you decline it. You say, it's been 5 years, you have to resurface your deck. It automatically comes to you. It's been 1 year, you need to power wash your house. It's been 1 year, you need to do all the touch-up caulking on the exterior of your house. It's been 1 year, you need to descale your water heater. It's been 3 months, you need to change your air filter in your
so
vents.
They're getting
automatically email them.
Yeah, so they're getting notified.
Yes, there you go. So now let's flip it real quick. So now I go to that same phone call on that guy with the Ferraris that wash him every week and parks him in his garage. Never washed his house in 12 years, cigarette butts and all that shit.
Sneaky.
And I show up and he says, Patterson, this piece of shit builder. My wife's pissed at me. The water's coming out of the ceiling. My mold. My kid won't stop coughing now. His eyes got a twitch. And I go, oh my god. And I pull up and I say, hey, this is you, right? This is your email address, right? John so at badassmf.com. So that's me. And I said, well, these are all the declines that we've told you that we'd come and surface your deck, and you declined it. So not only are you not doing the service as we recommended, but you're actively declining us to come and service your house. So now I kind of flip it and go, hey man, you're kind of ruining my brand now. What's up with that? Like, why are you not doing this? Because you guys all, from school, there's the two kinds of negligence, right? There's negligence, right? Where you put the guys putting the produce away, the banana falls down, the lady's shopping, the fat lady slips and falls, busts her ass. That's negligence, right? He fell down, he didn't see it. Oh shit, the banana fell, right? Then there's gross negligence, where you actually take the banana and you think it's funny. I'm gonna make this fat lady bust her ass. You put the banana down, you see the fat lady walk, and she walks, falls down, busts her ass, right? That's gross negligence, right? So negligence, I didn't read the manual. I didn't know I was supposed to change my oil in my car. Didn't read the manual. I don't know. Just shit just broke. I don't know. Gross negligence is getting the email confirmation for a service that is being provided for you that you're actively declining to not do the work for your house.
Are they getting that email if they don't? That $4,000 to $5,000 a year, is that automatic? Like they're already paying for that, or is that something they have?
No, they choose to do it or not.
All right,
when we're
so
done with a house,
say we're done. You build me a house, and I decline the $4,000 to $5,000. Am I getting those notifications anyway?
Yes, that's why we do it. Your contract with me says that you will maintain your house per this maintenance manual I'm giving you, whether you do it with us or you do it with somebody else.
Right.
Some people are super handy. We have got clients that are retired and they're just like super handy kind of guys. They love it. They love the manual because they know what to do. It's like, oh, Beatrice, it's time to go clean the air filter. They get all their ladder out. Their whole Saturday is like, cleaning the air filter out. They're like, time to clean up the P-traps. And the guy like cleans it out, and he sends me videos of it. He's all proud of himself, saving that $4,000, whatever,
But
then there's
his
some
name?
Huh?
What's his name? Beatrice's husband.
Can't disclose.
No, so do you also give them like the old school physical manual with like the binder with all the crap in it that they never open?
Yeah, it's part of our owner's contract. Yeah, it's like
so you give them that, but then you also do a digital version of it. That sends them reminders.
The contract that we signed with the client includes the manual. It doesn't come after; it comes before. Because at the end, it's like, I'm not doing this shit. What do you mean my plaster's going to crack? What's that supposed to mean? I wouldn't have built a house if I knew my plaster was going to crack.
So you present this in the beginning of the sale of the project.
That's absolutely correct.
God.
So
I walk away feeling I have nothing in order.
I have like 100. I have 100 questions. I don't know which one to ask. But all right. So speaking to that, you're selling. You're handing the manual over prior to or during the sale of the contract.
No, he's controlling the entire process, start to finish, and for years afterwards, and protecting his brand.
Understood. I guess I'm thinking job site manual, but this is probably a boilerplate in the sense of it's all the stuff you're going to put in, all the specifics like the specifications and selections and things like that. That's still different. Yeah, that's different. Okay.
But,
so like how to maintain the porcelain tile that you chose for your kid's bath.
Okay, so that's a whole nother rabbit hole that'll give you another 100 questions, because when the project is going, like you just said, if you choose this product, you're going to sign this because I've done this product before and I've had these problems with it. So just so you know that when you get
you acknowledge it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that would fall under the project coordinator. They would be disclosing all that information and kind of handling that, so they basically have their own handler for that. If we want to jump off of that and go back to the PM, the project manager, what is their kind of detail day to day? Are they getting fed from the coordinator?
That's correct. They don't talk to the clients.
Really?
At all.
I mean, not to be rude, but they're nice. They're nice. Not like you just mean mug. I'm like, hey, what's going on with the project today? You saw my face, and I'm just like trying to. That was my mean mugging face. You Boston guys got way more tougher face than this California.
Hey, you nailed it. You nailed it.
How much did you say this costs you?
It all depends.
To do the work,
$100K.
It's basically
no, like if it's 4 to 5 per. I feel like it would cost more to maintain the homes than that.
No, you're getting it confused. You're getting it confused. So the only way the program works. So our as Patterson, like our sort of like one of our mission statements is like no vendor or worker will ever go to a client's house anytime after they live there unless
accompanied.
My person for my company is there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what the $100,000 is the salary, the truck, the healthcare, the work comp, the gas, the cell phone of my guy, Bob, who is my custom care guy, who's driving around letting the vendors in. The $4,000 to $5,000 is all based on the house size. So if it's like a 3,000 square foot house, the cost is probably like $3,500 a year. If it's like a 7,000 square foot house, is probably like $7,000 a year. But the
what about
cost
a 12,700 square foot house?
It probably maxed out about $7,000. It
but
doesn't.
They're
get
not
much more
going
than
out of pocket for any of this once they sign up for that, correct?
No, then they pay each year. At the beginning of each year, they get billed for all the services, and then the algorithm spits out all the days that the services will arrive.
So they're not requesting additional service. The $7,000 is a dedicated schedule of these are the events that are going to take place for the $7,000.
That's correct, but they do have the ability if they want to, like if they're having a party, whatever, and they want to have a power wash done for their party, they can click on their app on the program, and it'll automatically find a hole for it, and they'll pre-bill them, and then that will happen that day. So you can add more services to it.
So what happens if you're doing that maintenance and you go up to clean the gutters and your guy finds rot? How does that fit into the system? Do you then create a work order for that repair? Because it's not maintenance now; it's now kicked to repair.
So now that is the Achilles heel of the project, right? That of the program right there. Okay. So that's the part. If anyone who wants to build a lot of houses and have a long tail and have a custom care maintenance program and have all these things, you're gonna find some bodies buried along the way, right? And it's just you got to just suck it up and handle it. But you know what? My philosophy is, hey, the guy found some rod in year 3. Right, which actually was a flashing that was counter flashed the wrong direction on a chimney or whatever. It's the water every time it rains has been trickling. It's catching water opposed to deflecting water in the backside of the wall. Shit, man, I'd rather catch that on year 3 than year 9.
Agreed.
When it's basically when it's a $3,000 repair opposed to a $300,000 repair. So the Achilles heel is you're going to find items. And
but do you absorb that, or do you?
Yeah, you just got to take care of it.
Okay.
You just handle it. And that's the thing is you just got to you have to know every single day that if you want to be in this business, and you got to have the mindset for it. The mindset of being in the general contracting business is it's not about a monetary thing. It's not being some rich guy or some guys are like that. I'm not like that. For me, it's like
I'm running a nonprofit right now.
I'm the same way. If you love the shit and like I do, I live for it. I love my clients. I love the hustle of it all. I love the stress of it all. I love just every single day is an explosion of horrible things that happen. How do you solve them? And you can't make up all these things that happen to me. It's so funny. And but for me, like my life is like a bag of chips, right? Like I just want to have enough chips to keep playing every day and have a good life. But I'm so scared that someday I won't have enough chips to play, and I can't play, and I can't build houses. So
can we go back?
If I have to give up some of my chips to keep playing, and it's $5,000 or $20,000 to fix something that is a defect that would have been more later, then you just pay it. You just be done with it. Don't think about it again. Get it on the next one.
Can we go back to you tell the story in your on your website, but before you moved down to Newport Beach, and you were going to give up construction. You and I chatted about that. You were done. You were in commercial construction. You were going to look for a new opportunity. Can we kind of rehash that story?
Yeah. So, well, I went through the whole .com explosion up in the Bay Area, and it was just it was such an incredible time to live, and just and be a part of all that. I was living in San Francisco during the whole .com build up, and then the 2.5 week meltdown. And so it was just such a great time. But you work so much and so many hours and doing these, trying to get these IT companies, to give them their TI allowance and managing, the construction of all these different things. And it was just too stressful for me. And it was also really unemotional, where it was, you got a set of plans and specifications, and it's just cold. It's like this VCT tile, number 5766, this dropped acoustical tile with a grid, number 7578. You're just dealing with these, it's just terrible. It's boring, So I just over it, and it got yanked out so quick. It was kind of like I was saying back, about the chips. It was like taking the guy. It was a big run. Some big roller had been rolling for like 30 hours straight. Everyone's got all these chips up, and then all of a sudden he rolls sevens, and the dealer takes his big arms, wipes all that shit off, and everyone's wiped out. Lays crying, taking the rings off her fingers. Oh, it's all over now. It's done. I was like, I just can't believe how fast something like that went down. Like how the whole world went from like, so good to so bad in like 2 weeks. Right. So I was like, I don't want to be part of that shit. I just want to go do something different, like be a teacher or like be a scientist. I don't even know. Sell copiers door to door. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But man, this construction is not where it's at. So
keep going. So you moved, right?
So I moved down to Southern California, and I was surfing and having a great time. And then I just didn't have any money. So the only thing I do was construction. So I started doing little remodels here and there, and I started meeting people and doing more of the residential side. And then a guy came to me and said, "Oh, can you build this house for me?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'll build your house." Didn't know what I was doing, and lost my ass. But I ended up meeting my wife because she was a banker, and I had no money, and I owed some guy some money. And I had to get some money. It was be bad news for me. And so I saw this thing at Wells Fargo, like, $5,000 if you, no qualifications needed, you just get $5,000. So, oh my God, $5,000, I'll lose my mind. So I went into this banker at Wells Fargo on PCH down here. And I asked the teller, where's this $5,000? I need the money. She goes, "Oh, talk to the personal banker over there." So I sat down, and the lady checked me out, all, nice young girl. And, called me later and said I didn't get the money. Like, that was problems. Couldn't get any money. No money for me. And so, but she wanted to have lunch with me because that was very nice. Had a good personality. She said, my wife's like a 9, out of like 5, like hot wise. And I'm like
Pics? You got pictures? You got pictures? You got pictures?
Yeah. My wife is off the charts hot. People always go, "How the hell did you end up with her? You're so ugly, and she's so good looking." And I was like, "No, I got a really good personality, And so, she went on a date with me, and then we ended up getting, engaged, and then got married, had great kids. And along the way, I got all my shit together, built some houses, and then ended up really falling in love with not so much the building side of it all, but the personality side of it all, meeting these clients and, the interaction of making them happy. Because really when you're doing commercial construction, like no one cares about like what the tile and, the break room looks like. No one cares about, what level HEPA filter you have in the clean room. No one cares about that shit. But when you're dealing with a husband and a wife and they're building their dream home and they install the backsplash and they come out and their eyes like, "Oh my gosh, I never thought it'd be so beautiful." Or you come up with an idea for like a beam pocket or a really cool floating staircase design, or something that's super common sense to you and I, but it's like making fire for the first time for them.
Sure.
They can't handle it. Like, "I just can't believe you did this for me. Like you're so wonderful, and you made our family so happy." And that's it. And that's what hooked me. Is making people happy.
What was the structure of that first home? Were you tool belt on, or managing it?
No, I was just I didn't the commercial side. That's why I'm a paper contractor, because I just basically had the infrastructure in place. You need a concrete guy, you need a plumber, you need a framer, you need a electrician, you need a tile contractor.
You had a network and not a tool belt.
I had a network, exactly. My network basically was I stuck a big ass sign in the ground with my phone number on it and said, dude, I'll just take anybody, man. I'll take anyone. If you call me back, you're hired.
In front of the house?
Is he a good framer? I don't know. He called me. I don't know. He must be good, I guess. He called me on the phone. What's his qualification? I don't know. He's calling me. I have no idea. You know.
So
but then the next
still
job,
maintaining that house.
It's kind of like this podcast, right? It's not my first. So the second job, the guy's like, "How's that He said, "How's that framer?" He's like, "He's great." Well, you know, what's he like? It's like, well, he framed this house for me. Did a great job. So that was it. His referral was one house, you know, and then that became two houses, and that's how this business starts, you know. And along the ways, you know, you come across some really interesting people, and you create lifelong relationships with people who do anything for you. You also get some real assholes, you know, that you just want to kill these guys, you know. It's the same, you know. That's why this business is so amazing, because you get incredible clients, you get incredible subcontractors, incredible life experiences, you know.
What made you ramp up from that one project to whatever 10 to 15 you do in a year? Why not just keep it simple and keep it lean? I just can't help myself. Yeah, break that down. I need more than that.
I literally can't help myself. If I and that's what Heather's job is to shut me up. Because I'll just I'm the kind of guy that
you're a yes man.
I blast out of bed like 4:30 in the morning. I have to be the strongest guy in the gym. I got to be, you know, the loudest guy in the room. That's just who I am. I'm just one of those guys that has to always be, I don't know, on top of everything. I'm not a competitive person with anyone around me, but I'm competitive against myself. So I just want to always go to bed at night and I hit the bed like so exhausted. Like, was I the best, you know, son today to my mom? Was I the best father today to my kids? Was I the best husband today to my wife? Was I the best boss today? Was I the best GC for my clients? Was I the best warranty guy? I just try to be every box that gets checked as a human, like in your life, I just try to be the best at it every single day.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that. My question is, like, Tyler brings it up. I mean, Tyler does, you know, one project at a time, and he's very hands-on. It's basically him and a few subs here and there sprinkled in. And he's made a comment a few times, maybe once, and it just stuck with me every day. Sense is that, like, are you giving 100% to each client when you have that many clients? And it's something I ask myself, so I'm going to ask you. Like, do you feel like that you're giving 100% to all of them?
So here's everyone's got a talent, right? Like I see like Nick on Instagram, like Nick's talent, I can tell, like he's got such an incredible eye for detail.
Flannels.
And all the work that he does. It's like, I look at, wow, man, these guys spend so much time like leveling a wall. They spend so much time like rabbiting a door. They spend so much time like even like waterproofing a shower. And I'm, you know, I lose you. Oh yeah. So, you know, my talent is I know what I'm bad at, and I'm really good at finding people to fill the voids and fill the things I'm bad at who are the best at it, right? So when you say, am I giving 100% to my clients? 1,000%. But if I actually did the work, I wouldn't be giving 100% to my clients, because my job as a paper contractor to my clients is, how do I get them the best pricing, right? With their house built in the fastest time frame with the highest quality possible. That's my job, right? All I can do my job is if I can literally wake up all day long and hustle all these subs and hustle all the clients and hustle all the work and hustle all the city and just get every single person working for all these different projects. But I can't, because I got to track down, like, did the lien release for the subcontractor for the steel vendor get processed? Did the billing get done on time? Did that leak that happened from the screw that went through the screw plate into a copper pipe and now it's leaking 5 years later? Is that client's drywall being repaired? Are they happy? Did the billing get sent out on time? Is our insurance sent out? Is the payroll done? Are the payroll taxes paid? Did someone answer the phone when they called 5 minutes ago at the office? You know, there's so many things that involve this business that I'm giving 110% every single second of the day, because I have the best people doing it. Like Katie in my office, who tracks lien release her job's track all the liens and subcontract insurance and whatnot. There's no one better in the world that does it than her. This girl just cuts glass, man, and everything is perfect, right? But like, do you really want to? to so you think, so I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with doing it with that mentality, like I'm doing one house one time 100%, but you're not, because the business isn't being a contractor 100%, right? It's not like installing a door 100%. It's the vendor of the door. It's what type of door was it? Did the designer sign off on the door? Did the client sign off on the door? Is the right kind of hardware? Did the door vendor lean the job? Does the guy who drove the door have insurance if he runs over some kid in the parking lot? These are all the parts of working here in California that me being able to have enough projects, to have a big enough staff that everyone does their own thing, that is me giving 100%.
That's a good answer.
While you were scaling up, were you scaling up because you were trying to take on more work, or more work was coming your way and you scaled up accordingly?
Second, yeah, more work was coming in.
And it was the fact that you just didn't want to say no, and it was just good quality stuff that, I guess, like, when you want to hit a run, you want to hit a run, and you want to take the best clients that are in the right wheelhouse for the right budget and the right design. Like, what was it that was, like, I have a hard time saying no to people because I feel like they're going to be left with mediocre builders behind me that come along, and that it will be a disaster. What was your mind?
Second, we just said the second. It just, when you live in Newport Beach, you live here, it's a very, very big town, but it's a very, very small community. So the people doing things and building houses and have the wherewithal to do all these things, they're all connected to me somehow, some way. Everyone knows someone through somebody, right? And so it's the project comes along, they say, hey, you built my house, it's an amazing job. My friends come over, they want you to build it, their house. I said, I honestly, I can't do it. I cannot take it on right now. So what we've done now is we've changed that whole process now, where we say we're only taking on projects where we're in from the inception, like before even the architect sometimes even signed up. So when the architect is awarded the contract, or we're awarded the contract first, and then we help hire the architect, that's the only way we'll work. We won't do anything jobs now where it's like, hey, I've got these set of plans that are done, I'm getting 3 bids. So we're able to really slow down our calendar, our schedule, because we're taking on projects a year before they start. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it does.
So if someone's came to me and say, can you give me a bid for my friend's house? It's really easy to say, like, I really want to, but we don't do it that way. We start way in advance.
And I fully appreciate that. I want to bridge between that first house and this process, because I can't imagine even within the first 10 houses this was your process.
No. So every single time I built a house, I had a problem. Sometimes multiple problems. And that's always, who was the guy? It was the first podcast we did with the guy. Yeah, with Brad. Brad's the man. Brad's awesome. And so I told Brad, I said, I'm going to write a book when I'm retired. It's called All the Shit I Can't Make Up That Happened to Me, right? You can't make it up. This stuff that's gone on with me. Like, every day I wake up and like this horrible, horrible things will just happen that you just have to solve, right? So some stuff is preventable, right? So every time something happens, we create a page of this specification book or a warranty line item that says, like, just so you know, like, this will happen, right? So then it became like, wow, there's so many items. Like, I can't be out there doing what I'm supposed to do every day without having someone to manage these items. Now I have a coordinator, right? Well, now I can't be out doing these houses every day. I can't run more than 5 houses. It's just too much. It's crazy. I never see my wife. It's just too much going on. Now we need a project manager. Then it's, wow, the 10th house I built, 4 years ago, has a leak in it. Well, now I need a warranty guy, right? Because now everyone's calling me saying, hey, this door sticks. The water heater's broken, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that just comes in with building all these houses, you're just inherently going to have issues because you know what? Now it's all deferred maintenance, I'm noticing, but no one knows how to take care of the house because everyone throws the manual in the trash. So now I've got to full-time care department. So every year, and it's only been like 20 years I've been doing this, but it's been slowly scaling up every single year, becoming a multiple of what like the roots of a tree. It just gets deeper and more segmented as it grows. So there was no like all of a sudden, bam, and building 30 house, whatever it is. It was 2 to 5 to 10 to 12 to 10 to 6 to 12 to 20 to 18 to 6 to 18. It's kind of fluctuated throughout the years, but for the most part, it's been an average of about 15 to 20 a year.
So what
was your goal as far as getting the type of leads that you wanted? Was it more architect driven, or were you selling those jobs, or did they just kind of, as far as your level of execution and quality, did you just kind of happen upon that?
What's it? Oh, my phone's about to die. Do you have an iPhone charger? So I think basically it comes mostly from word of mouth, where we work in a community, and it's in here. It's a lot of row houses where it's. I gotta plug in here. Hold on. So when you build a house on the street, you're really being exposed to 50 other houses on that street, and they can see your trucks, they can see your clinics, your job site, but you also have other people to compare against, right? Because there's 2 of the builders build in the same street, and the job site's a mess. And there's like trash in the street and loud music, and everyone's pissed. So what you can do is like I said before, like about being like a competitive person. I like letting everyone know my secret sauce, like how I do it, and say, hey, it's super easy. Here's all the steps. Now let's all have an open platform where everything is open book. All the clients see the cost, and the best person is going to get the project because he's got the best overhead staff, team, warranty service, custom care, everything, right? So I want to compete and make a platform where everyone's got to compete on the same arena, right? No like, maximum GMAX fee with all these allowances and exclusion, all this shit. So it's better for me to basically to know what that field is, right? To have everyone compete on the same thing, right? So where the leads come from, it's everyone's seeing the custom care truck. Wow, this guy's maintaining houses. Seeing our houses on Instagram. We were the first builders to be on Instagram. We've got, how many followers do we have now? We have 90,000 followers on Instagram, and I didn't even know what that even was, I grew up like whipping Dowlesman's ass on Street Fighter.
How many followers do I have?
I don't know what Instagram was all about, but now it was a platform that was shown to me by, and now it's like, I want this house, they just call us. It's unbelievable. But this has been going on for 5 years now.
That's awesome. So who does the pre-construction? Because if you're doing 15 to 20 houses, and then you're handling all that client relationship before it even starts, like when I went through, is it Brittany? Is she the one doing?
Yes. So that was, we kind of got sidetracked on the different people in the company, but so Brittany's job is, the second that we meet the client, they'll either make an inquiry to us, or they'll have a lot, or they're looking for a lot. And Brittany's a licensed realtor. So what she'll do is either help commandeer the lot for the client. And she has a whole network of all the realtors in town. They all know to call her. And a lot of people will call us who are, have, their parents passed away and they have a house they got to, be done with. They don't want to pay the real estate commission. So they'll call us, say, do you want to buy this house? So Brittany will go through her database and say, oh my gosh, it's this house in this location, this neighborhood. And she'll bring the client in, they'll do the escrow, buy the house, and then we'll get the architects teed up. And then Brittany's job is to get the soils report, the topographic survey done, the structural engineer signed up, the architect signed her. And she gets all of these different people teed up, and her job is to run this project through to get a permit. Meanwhile, Kelly's team is working and meeting with the client every single week to develop all the specifications for the house as architect draws it. So the clients, the old school way of doing things, where it just seems so archaic, where it's like, here's a set of blueprints, give me a bid. like I'll get every bid in town if you do it that way. Because everyone knows how to, in our business, you can manipulate the numbers any way you want to get to be the lowest, even though you'll get on the back end. So it's better for everyone to say, okay, how much do you want to spend? Like, you want to spend $2 million to build the house, or you want to spend 3,000 square feet? That's totally doable. Like, no, I want to spend 900 grand. It can't be done. You can't physically do it for that. So what you do is along the way, they say, oh, I want, all these backlit onyx slabs in the whole walls. And I want, all these, cymatic cabinets. I want, and it's like, well, you're not going to get that $2 million number. So what we do along the way is we say, okay, the framing is going to cost $40 a foot. The plumbing is going to cost, $30 whatever it is. And so all these different items along the way get built into this massive spreadsheet, so that when the clients are meeting with with Kelly and her team, we're actually creating all the specs that will become the bid documents, right? So when the client starts the project, we put a shovel in the ground. We've got 4 bids on a 230-page spec book from every subcontractor for every single nook and cranny in its entire house.
It's,
right?
it's a playbook.
It's taken us 6 months to get it, though.
It's a playbook for your PMs. But how does Brittany know that this client is someone that's a right fit for you guys? Like, what are the questions that she's asking for her to even go look for an acquired land?
She's not. They come to us. People call us.
Yeah, no, but how does that person, when they call, that Brittany knows that they're the right fit for your company? Like, she's not just going to, everyone that calls, I got land for you, and it's a $900,000 project. And then you go, oh, you know what, forget it. That land's actually mine still. Like,
that's a great question. So we have a minimum a standard we build to. Since we're maintaining these houses, we have a level that we build to that we won't go below, right? So, for instance, like we're by the ocean here, so we can't use any bonderized flashing. Everything's copper, right? So, bonderized flashing on an entire house is like, $3,500, where copper is, $35,000, right? So everything that adds up to like we only use cast iron waste lines, right? Where ABS is the standard here. We only use cast iron, which is super archaic for around here, but the reason why is because I've ripped out plumbing in the house. Is because some guy took, flushed the toilet, goes, oh my God, I can hear the toilet water in the wall. Why, and I said, well, yeah, ABS is what the building code is. And they said, well, there's something better. I said, yeah, well, cast iron is more quiet. Well, why don't you use that? So I rip all of it out and put cast iron in. So now that's our standard, right? Yeah. So when you add up all of our standard things, like we use all trimless cans, all flush grills, Nabian water heaters, all carrier HVAC furnaces units. And it goes on and on and on. When you break all those things down, we're, in the $650 a square foot range on the low end to build houses. So we build houses up to $2,000 a foot, but $650 a square foot is kind of our range on our lower end. So we're really quick to say, hey, if someone calls in and say, oh, my budget is $2 million to build a 5,000 square foot house, we're like, we can't do that. It doesn't work for us. So back to your question is, who are these people? Are we a good fit for everyone? So you don't know anyone, right, until you get to know them. And everyone on first meeting, first glance could be great. But since we're not fully contracted with the client doing this work, we take a deposit on the front end, but we're not contracted, okay? So that 6-month period of us to get the specs done and meet with them and go through everything, it's a two-way courting, right? We're just dating. We're not getting married, right? And when you build a house with somebody, screw marriage, not being married, man. You're having a kid with that person. Whether you like it or not, you're bound by that person, right? You got that kid together, right? So you got to be real, real careful, who you build a house for.
You said you do take a deposit on that pre-construction?
Absolutely. But it's applied to the fee of we charge a percentage fee to build the house. Right. We charge 17% of cost.
So how is that?
Do you add management into that, or is that just your flat fee?
No, total. So that's another way we do it is that
17% with the project coordinator, project manager,
Brittany,
you. Yeah.
The whole Patterson experience only costs you 17%.
Only cost
Patterson experience. Oh my God.
But hype man, where's my hype man?
Dude, you don't need one, bro.
Hype man.
how are you figuring the pre-construction deposit?
I'll come move out to Newport Beach if you want me to be your hype man.
We've asked you to come to Boston like 7,000 times.
Yeah, but I've been trying to move to California for years.
I can't come to Boston because my wife's got a secret crush on CT from the real world, so I can't. That's her number one. I can't ever go to Boston.
He lives here?
CT, yeah, he's a Boston guy, yeah.
I didn't. Meg would know that. I wouldn't know
that. Man, that's an old real world.
Dude, you guys have a bunch of kids. I'm like 45 years old.
I'm 40, bro. I guess it's a compliment. I'll take that.
So how are you figuring the pre-construction deposit? Like, what's that amount, or how are you figuring that?
It's enough that either one of us could walk away from if it wasn't a positive experience going into it. So we just charge like $50,000, or $50,000, $100,000, whatever it is. But it's applied to the management fee once we start.
Just so casual. That's
it's 6
really,
months worth.
really, really nice car.
What?
$50,000.
Yeah.
Okay, he just was like, "Yeah, I'll just whatever's comfortable, $50,000." Just throw it out there. I think half the people listening right now is like, "What? I'm trying to get $300 to cover my estimates."
Well, I think what it is too is that it's just a different everything in life is the same. It's how many zeros are behind it. It's all the same. It's all the same. If you have one employee and you're building 2 houses a year, $5,000's enough. If you got 25 employees and your overheads, 250, $300 a month. I mean, you got to be able to cover everything.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. You're vetting them. You're getting them in the wheelhouse with, hey, our minimum standard is $650. We build houses up to $2,000 a square foot. If that fits, we can take your project on. It's $50,000 retainer, and we're going to spend the next 6 months trying to figure, basically building out what this costs within that, range, and then until we break ground. So that's correct. I mean, it is a big retainer, like in comparison to what we've talked about before, but it's also a tremendous amount of work that you're front loading this project with, which I assume your goal is to break ground with all the decisions made. That's correct. And a real budget, budget based on real specs on real things. Because that's how you get off. That's how these projects get off the rails, man. Is the client doesn't know how long it's going to take, and the client doesn't know how much it's going to cost, and the client doesn't, and they just, and all of a sudden, and then you bid the job to get it, but you've got $25,000 as an allowance for plumbing fixtures, so because you want your bid to be lower than the next guy's because you want the business, and the plumbing fixtures will be 50. Right. That's not right. So what's going to happen? The wife goes shopping for her plumbing fixtures with $25,000 allowance. She doesn't know what plumbing fixtures cost. And she's like, what the hell am I supposed to buy with this? I told you I like Waterworks. I said, I love Waterworks. All I can buy here is some price fixtures, some mowing shit from, some tin. I can't hang with some mowing on.
Not sponsored by Moen tonight.
Yeah.
So your cost to build is $650 to $2,000?
The client cost.
It all depends. It all depends what they pick.
But when you're budgeting $650 to $2,000, then you have your 17% on top of that.
That's correct. But you got to understand, $2,000 foot. We're not building houses that are, 10,000 feet. These homes are row houses. They're like, 4,000 feet. They're not big.
Unless you combine 3 lots into one house.
We heard about that.
Yeah, we did.
We were watching, since you ditched us, we watched your video instead.
We watched it together.
Good.
Like, guys, you see how big this house is?
Yeah, that was a monster. That was 15,000 feet.
What was the budget on that one? Are you safe to disclose the square footage cost?
I cannot disclose that one.
Fair enough.
All right, pretend you didn't tell us how many square feet. What was the square foot cost?
No, it was less than 1,000. I'll tell you that. How's that sound?
Okay,
that's fine.
Yeah.
So, good.
And I was in the windows. And the windows cost $1,200,000.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll give you those two numbers. Those are.
That was a lot of glass in that house.
Yeah.
A lot.
That was so that's a really good example, right? So that client who owned that house is like the most inspirational, unbelievable guy. He's a self-made guy. He owns one of the largest privately held real estate companies in the country. This guy is like a hella skier, big wave tow-in surfer, rock climber. You say it, this guy does it all. Incredible guy, but he is a driver, man. He makes me look like I'm sleeping, and he would challenge me every day and said, "Listen, I'm going to choose you. I want to be conscious of the budget. I don't want to spend too much. I want to, but I want you to be super creative, and anything you can come up with in your mind, I want you to bring it to me." And so I worked with the architect on that house, and him and I and the owner. It was just unbelievable. And hey, I want to float the staircase. I want to do a 4-story glass elevator. I want to. And he says, "What's something like that going to cost?" I said, "I don't know, a couple $100,000. He's like, "Well, if it's like 100,000, I would do it." So, well, let me see what I can do. And so we really camped with that house. It was a meld of his trustingness and the architects and my visions on just pushing the limit on making that house the way it is. So I was out, and those are the projects that I get so excited about, because in it all, I love the business, but the creative side of it all is really what I love. Coming up with really complicated, like if you look at some of those shots on Instagram and look and see those steel windows and doors with a 4-inch mullion between them of wood,
Mm-hmm.
and how it connects with the 4-inch beam on top
Right.
of the beam ceiling, and how the can light is perfectly centered between the 4-inch TNG that's running the other direction perpendicular. I mean,
It's
that's all done. That's all me. I did all that.
That's a ton of luck, I got to tell you. I mean, to
Yeah,
get
I know,
all that
I
just
know.
to fall into place.
You sound
Exactly.
like me.
Well played.
But you're dealing with an over $1 million window and door package. These things are made, 9 months. It takes 9 months to make these things. So the house is being built, and you're in the dirt and structural steel and these columns trying to lay these out on what the future is going to be on these windows going in and the beams above. And it's all literally done on paper with a pencil and me just drawing it out.
Well, that was my question. This is your role in the company. I know you alluded to the fact that you drive around and you screw shit up all day, but your role
Cause a
is
ruckus.
I feel this is where I feel like you and I relate. Is that my role I started as a carpenter, but now my role is I'm on site and I'm looking at everything coming together and challenging the way it comes together to see if there's a better way to do it. And it's looking at the details and saying, we can improve on that. Or, hey, let's line this up. Or let's do this and let's go back to the, and always challenging it. And yes, I mean, that's the disruption of my guy's days.
So okay, so you kind of said, so I'm a modest, I like joking around and shit, but I'm a modest guy, but and I'll tell you, you asked before, how do people get the business? How do people call me? I'm known for someone that cares so much about detail and how the finished product comes together. I'll spend $80,000 of my own money to rip out something that I think is out of 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch over 20 feet.
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't believe, I just came from a house 10 minutes ago that I got a whole stone chimney, and I'm by the pool looking up with the guy going, dude, that metal, that Z-bar flashing's out. Look at it. It's out 3/8 of an inch over 5 feet. He goes, no, I don't see it. Leave it. I said, dude, no, because someday you're in this pool and you're going to notice that's going to drive you crazy. So we're going to fix it right now. I'm going to pay for it and we're going to fix it. No, I want to move in. So I'm known in town as someone that cares so much about how it comes together at my own personal expense. I don't care. I want to be the best it can possibly be. And I'm known for that.
So question for you on that is if the client's not there all the time, how does that get expressed to them? Like, you're not going to do a walkthrough on a Saturday and go, so I found this problem and I found that problem and I found this, but I solved it all for you. How do you express that to a client so they get that?
Of course you do it. That's why I have weekly meetings. I show them all these problems and how I want to solve them. And they say, wow, that's why people call me. It's because I'm willing. I have nothing to hide. And I'd rather say, this is an issue right here, right? This is a big problem. We got to fix it. And I don't know how I'm going to fix it, but I'll figure it out. But that's a problem. They look at it and go, I don't even know what you're even talking about. And I said, you can't see it now because you're like a software salesman. You don't understand what's going on.
Yes.
You don't understand that when that beam comes together, it's a 3/4 inch oak, but it's going to have a 1/4 inch behind it for a mounting adhesive. And it's going to stick inside that window frame. It's going to stick in and protrude in the frame 1/8 of an inch. So that nice clean line going around, it's not going to work. It's going to look terrible.
I
So we
guess
have to now get a structural detail and shave the steel beam down.
I guess I was just saying your approach on how you disclose that. Like, I know, like, we're finishing a big house right now. It's 12,000 square feet. And I've told the client, I go, hey, I get you're going to start looking around now. This is the time to start looking around when you're here by yourself or whatever. I go, I'm here late nights, certain nights, because I want to hear the house at different times of the day. Like, hey, that switch over there that's got the multiple rooms in it, it buzzes a little too loud. And at night, you're going to text me and go, hey, is this a fire hazard? Like, I guess my point is I try and walk them through what we're doing right now to say, hey, right now we're sitting at the bottom of the steps at your kid's loft to go, after you've had a bad day with them, that's where you're going to stop and sit, and you're going to look at the baseboard. You're going to look at things at that area, and that's what we're doing right now. So don't worry about making a list on Punch because we're about 3 weeks out. We're doing these steps to kind of ensure that a lot of the little things that we're thinking about are already taken care of. But I'm not going around going, hey, I solved this for you, I solved that for you. I guess I was trying to figure out what your approach is to kind of disclose that if the client's not there, or if your PM's doing it, you know?
The PMs don't talk to clients that much. Typically, I'm the one that talks to them all the time, or the coordinators do. But fit and finish items like that, those are all things that we all as a group come up with, solve, because like you just said, you don't see things some stuff you just can't figure out to the very, very end. Yeah. But when it comes to building the house, of how all the elements come together, because we do a lot of really hardcore contemporary houses where there's no like molding to hide things. It's, you know, everything is coming across with zero tolerances of any kind. So you have to be able to have foresight and solve things and figure things out. And, you know, on a design build platform, you know, it's the other, you know, I said the Achilles heel before, is that there's no extra cost for like, you know, modifying the structural steel beam that's sticking down too low into a ceiling plenum, right? Because the client hired me in pre-construction, hired my team to go through and vet all these problems, right? So I can't go and charge a change order for a structural steel beam revision when, you know, it's not done for what the original architectural plans were designed to be.
So you're doing are you doing a lump sum once you have
no.
that? So it's still cost plus?
It's a cost plus, but it's called a PCH cost, Patterson Custom Homes cost. And that's every month you get that. You just hope the PCH costs are
I can't wait to hear the
PCH
NS
profit
costs when he plagiarizes all of this and uses it for himself.
Plagiarize is a strong word.
I wanted to jump back a little bit in that pre-con. When you get that $50K, are you contracting the interior designer and the architect? How are you building that relationship into the system?
No. So we have multiple architects in town we work with, and we just know the best fit typically for the clients, you know, and the architects. We also know the best fit for the interior designers and the clients too. So if we're working with, you know, I don't even know, we've got how many projects do you ever know? We have over 30 projects right now, she said. But every project's got an interior designer. We make it a mandatory deal with our clients that you have to have a designer. So it's a good third party person to, you know, just have in the ring. So if we have, there's those 20 designers we work with, we'll say, and the person says, oh, I want to build an Eastern Seaboard style house. Okay, we'll say, here's like 4 we want you to pick from, right? So it's kind of like a controlled pick where they're kind of, we're sending the designers in that specialize in that type of
and who will fit their personality.
Yeah. And then we'll, you know, we have some clients that are really, you know, passive clients. So we need like an aggressive designer that's going to extract things from them. Mm-hmm. We also have really aggressive clients that we need a passive designer because, you know, they might like, you know, whip each other's ass someday, you know, if they you know, get in a dispute.
Too much competition.
So yeah. So really it's a personality matching game a lot of times. But we're never going to recommend someone that we haven't worked with before that isn't good for both of us, because I'm only going to recommend designers that are super organized, and get things decided because, you know, since we're only charging 17% of cost, we don't have a management fee. There's nothing going each month. There's no like monthly cost. If this project drags on for, you know, 14, 16, 20 months, we'll lose our ass, because if we're not getting decisions, the project just stops. And if we can't bill that project each month for work in place, we don't make our overhead, right? So then it gets real scary real quick. So with the guy that you're saying on the hype man that does one house, that's a great deal because he's got, the overhead's low and he's got the deal. But if that guy puts the project on hold, well, that's really scary because that's your one deal. Where for us, if we have, 30 projects and, 10 of them stop for some reason, or 10 of them have an issue, the other 20 can support us, right? So, not every single project goes
Those numbers are
perfect
scary.
every month. What's that?
Those numbers are scary.
It's not though. It's not. It's as long as you have a good team of people, it can keep exponentially being bigger. It just you just have to.
But
the only thing that
what's the goal? I guess, like, is it to get bigger? Is it to service more people, to do better designs, more designs, or is it to
the goal is what you said earlier, like half hour ago. The goal is to have a really, really happy existence where I am really, really happy. And the only reason I'm really happy is because I've got a recognition, a brand, where a reputation I've built over all these years, where it's I'm able to really work with the best clients, with the best personalities. I don't have to take a job with someone I don't care for, right? Mm-hmm. I can say no. I'm like, it's probably not gonna work out. But right now, all my clients that of all my projects are awesome. They call me, I talk to them daily. So what's my goal? My goal is to have constantly, the size we're at right now is perfect. Every single question is answered in a timely manner by everyone that calls in. All the subcontractors are happy. They're getting fat checks. Everyone's getting paid. All the clients are happy because their projects are getting done. When they call the office, they got, 10 people they can talk to. All the warranty stuff is perfect. Someone has a leak or a problem or an issue, a guy just shows up within the hour and fixes it. That's my goal. My goal is to keep what I'm doing right now, which is perfect, going for as long as I possibly can.
I get you. No, I drive home a lot of times and go, should I just do 2 projects? Keep it simple. We're a company of 5 and we do 7 and 10 at a time. So it's like maybe just the big house. I could just run it myself and be done with it and make it real simple. There's guys out here that, Whitler Brothers and certain firms that have been around where it's husband and wife and they're super streamlined and they only do 2 builds a year. And I just see that being a perfection. Like, I don't need to, I guess my worry is at a certain point, I asked that question and thought, at a certain point, I feel like you're feeding a machine, that you have to take on the next 3 projects at some point if the economy switches. And how much will you be willing to compromise with that selection of a client to make sure the team stays fed?
And that's exactly right. So, in the times like this where it's perfect, we're stockpiled like a chipmunk, just putting all the acorns in the mouth, we're just sticking them inside the tree for when it's cold, right? So we're trying to. So here's what it is. Everyone that's around me right now that works in an operation is awesome. I don't have a single person that works for me that I could literally live without seeing every day. They're all my family. They're perfect, awesome people, and every single person that works in our company respects each other, gets along with each other. We don't have any alpha people. Everyone is just super, super happy, and everyone cares about each other and the brand succeeding. So, are there going to be slack times where, everyone stops? There's no, but if I'm only building, 20 houses, whatever it is, maybe the guy doing 5, you're only doing 1. It's the same numbers. It's all the same stuff.
So how many people you have a staff of how many?
40 or 20.
With me, I'm 25.
So 25, and then you said you're doing between 15 and 25 a year.
Well, you gotta. We have 30 something. We have 30 something active projects, but you have to understand a lot of those are pre-construction. So under construction, like on the ground, like when I drive around every day and there's sticks and bricks going up, there's probably like 20, less than 20.
How many houses are you building a year?
You can't do it that way because our projects all take more than a year.
Yeah, some close out and some start.
Yeah. They're all we have houses that take 3 years to build. We have houses that we build in 9 months.
So basically, John, he's got like 1 2/3 people per project.
Yeah.
So you have 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
Same numbers, same ratio.
Don't tell me.
So that would be like you doing 3 projects at a time.
Yeah.
Which, how many are you doing at a time right now?
7.
Oh, you're killing it, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
But like you have over twice the amount on your plate, so it's going to be much more difficult to hit those details. True. Because, you know, I mean, his company's bigger, but realistically he has more people in place, and technically he's doing less work per person.
That's correct. So I personally don't have any minutia in my life of any kind that would make me have any thought process other than making houses awesome for my clients.
I have never used the word minutia. I might. No,
we might start using it.
I'm gonna pop that in.
Andrew, could you comfortably say that across every single project that you're building, the quality is the exact same?
Yes.
And I think that
was a softball.
Well, I mean,
but see,
after that whole explanation,
because that's our process, right? See, so the old school way of doing it is you have like a superintendent that goes and builds a house, and he's out there in the field. It gets $12,000 a month for the fee, whatever. But he's actually building 2 houses, but the client doesn't know that, so he's getting $24,000 for this one guy, and that guy's in charge of like running the project, getting the bids, doing the scheduling, getting the specs done with the clients, and meeting the designers. And that guy's in charge of all these things, where the GC is kind of just making sure all the superintendents have what they need. Where, our process is totally different, right? So the old way, you've got the one guy in charge of like checking to see if the concrete's laid right. He's also the same guy checking to see to make sure the outlets aren't crooked. He's also the same guy checking to see, hey, there's no buried outlets. So what we do is, since we have these specification books and these process done and everything is signed off, my whole team, all the women in the office, all the 4 coordinators, and then all of the PMs from the other projects, before we insulate the house, our whole company comes and walks the house. All of it. So we have all the spec sheets up and everyone's there. Everyone's got a voice. Everyone's got an opinion. Like when Lauren picked up that wire was buried, like, oh my God, Lauren, how the hell did you even see that? Because everyone's looking at these different things. Like Jessica saw, like the skylight, that motorized skylight wasn't hooked up, but there's no wire to it. And these are things that when you're just one guy on the project, as a supervisor or superintendent, whatever role is, you get snow blindness. You walk by the same shit every day. Like, oh, I'm going to fix that tomorrow.
You proofread your mistakes.
I'm going to fix that tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's drywalled. Like, God, did I fix that? And then 6 months later, you got a water leak because you didn't fix it. So by all of our team walking everyone else's houses, we're ensuring that we have a perfect build on the drywall, because we got 20 sets of eyes looking at this project before we insulate and drywall it. Then when it gets to the finish stage, when it's all finished, I don't have one guy doing the finish. All the PMs are coming to help finish. Like I've got 4 PMs right now on one project, bringing it home. A big house we're doing up in Crystal Cove. I've got literally 4 PMs that right now, because their other projects are all at the foundation stage or framing stage, when they don't need to really be there every day. It's the last, 5 weeks of a project, or when it's super intense. So is the quality across all the projects the same? Absolutely it is. Because I'm walking around every day, going to all these houses and saying, I literally just drive in a loop all day long. It takes, 4 hours to go by all the projects, just drive time. But I'm driving by to ensure that nothing's crooked. Everything is perfect. Everything is per our standard. All the copper flashing's perfect. We're using the right waste lines. I'm ensuring the brand standard is being handled, and also that the clients are informed. They know what's going on.
My question to you is, you got out of commercial because it became like a numbers in a punch by numbers type of situation where you're just installing product and there's no emotion involved with it. Now that you've got coordinators yourself and the PMs don't have that much communication at all with the client, how is that any different? How are you keeping that experience for the PM, the guy, the boots on the ground, kind of fun and interacting if they don't get to catch that client excited about that one detail? You get me?
because typically the people that are doing the PMs, they don't want that. They don't want to deal with that whole part of it. Their personalities are different. They have different personalities. Like, they're all excited to do a good job and they're excited to have the project come home, but they're not necessarily like, talk a mile a minute and just get all excited about everything. They kind of like just doing their job. They like building a really clean house, and their satisfaction is when we do these PM walks and these coordinator walks, that their houses are flawless. Like, there is nothing wrong with the inside of these houses. It's their baby. It's their, it's their project. It's like building, it's building like Legos, right? The coordinators are giving them all the drawings and all the Legos, and all they're doing is putting it together, right?
So
They're going to have
still satisfying.
So satisfying, right?
You called attention to it earlier on that all coordinators were women. That sounded like that was intentional.
Yeah.
Why?
Because in the office environment, it just seems more that so my whole office is women, right? So I've got a women, my operations officer woman, controller's a woman, Katie doing the lien release tracking, insurance search, a woman, Angela, the assistant controller's a woman, Brittany's a woman, obviously, Stephanie, who is a woman, all the coordinators are women, Kelly, and so having all the women in the office, so I was raised by a single mom, only child. And
same here, brother.
Yeah. My mom just had no money and raised me on her own. It's the hardest working woman in the world. And she would just get shit done, man. And women are very, they're very loyal. They're very protective of the brand, very protective of the business. They watch out for me because I'm like come on, let's do some business. And then everyone kind of gather like, no, that guy's the bad vibe with that guy. Don't work with him. He's terrible. And I was like, no, he seems great. And they all pack together like, we're not, that guy's terrible. What are you talking about, Andrew? He's terrible. So they're really great as far as being so strong and bringing these women in that have no construction experience whatsoever. So that's it, right? If you have construction experience and you hire for a project coordinator position, it counts against you, right? We want someone that's raw, that knows nothing, that has a really, really positive attitude, because my satisfaction of it's like baking the cake, right? The same way that you install a wire, a black to hot, white to neutral, ground to ground on all your outlets, right? Nick, John, it's all the same in every house. My house here, your house there, it's all the same shit. Same Romex, same switch, same box and everything, right? But teaching a 22-year-old woman who knows nothing about construction how electricity works, with the black hot coming in and the neutral going out, right? And how that works with the lighting control system, then how that works with, how the difference in that and the low voltage system works, how, the plumbing system works, looking how the condensate line goes works. And then having these women tell it back to you on these project walks that they've learned something. How much more exciting is that for you as a person opposed to wiring it, right? It's like watching people tell you back how you taught them, if that makes sense.
No,
And
I get it.
then the best part is watching, a 50-year-old, project manager in the field interacting with a 25-year-old project coordinator in the office and having a legitimate conversation based on knowledge that this girl's acquired just by working in our business, and having a conversation about wiring and plumbing and the specs and how things will work and won't work. So that's part of what like my stoke of this whole experience is building up people to really be better and learn something, right? And that's like why I follow you, Nick, and that's why before I even knew you, Nick and Stephanie, I followed you a long time ago, and you epitomize what the new revolution is, right? Like my wife, whenever we go to parties, she would say, "What does your husband do?" And I would be like, she'd be like, "Oh, he's a real estate developer." I said, "No, I'm a general contractor." And their face would be like, "Ugh. Like what? Like he has a wrench? Like what does he do all day?" But what people are realizing is that being in these trades, man, this is some really good shit. We got great experiences, We all can make a ton of money doing it, right? You got kids that are going to college to be like history majors, nothing wrong with that, being history majors, racking up $100,000 in student debt, and they come out and they got nothing. Where you go and become a plumber in a vocational school, and you'll come out of school you come out your first, as an apprentice, making $120,000 a year. But it's not cool to be a plumber, right? So watching Nick and watching him, Nick is making the Instagram and making the world see it's cool to be a carpenter. Nick makes it look fucking cool. I'm sorry, I swore. Nick makes it look cool to be a carpenter, right?
It's your first one.
Sorry, I know. And I've been working hard, man. I've been working my ass off to not do it.
It's not your first one.
I'm only kidding. You've cursed like 100 times.
No, I did I?
Yeah, Stephanie already apologized on your behalf.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Anyways, but what I'm getting at is that there is this new momentum, this new wave, this new thing where people who are in their 30s and early 20s, it is cool to be in the building business. It is cool to be a mechanical contractor. It is cool to be a carpenter. It is cool, maybe not too cool to be a drywall hanger, but it is cool to do,
it's cool to work with your hands.
It's cool. Being a builder, being a contractor is cool, man. It's a cool thing to do.
But I think what's really important here, and this is something I've had a hard time explaining, is that I've hired a lot of people that have had zero experience in this industry. And you hear it a lot, through other channels. It's like, oh, we hire for passion, we'll teach the skill. But I mean, I don't think a lot of people are looking at it the way you're looking at it, and in the sense of hiring these project coordinators. If they have construction experience, it works against you. Peter Humphrey mentioned on his podcast where it's he doesn't hire kitchen designers. He hires people that have kitchens, and they design kitchens around that, around the way they work, the way they use them. And I think it's a very similar mentality here. It's like you're hiring a project coordinator because they're probably extremely relatable to the homeowner. So when the homeowner's coming to them, or they're delivering information from the project manager to the homeowner, they're looking at it from the homeowner's understanding point. Is that right?
That's exactly right. You nailed it. It's a lot better, and it's a lot softer and a much cleaner experience and more gentle experience when a wife or the husband, or mostly the wife, wants to talk about the project, and they want to talk about it with someone who's a woman, right? But I have to make sure that woman understands how construction works, right?
Right.
Understands how wiring works, understands how the implications of what she's saying and what you can and can't do, right? Opposed to, nothing wrong with this, but sometimes the man who's only been building houses his whole life, might have a more brash personality and say like, oh, what of course you can't do that. What are you thinking? What are you, stupid? What do we hang this from here? But it could be a completely legitimate question, but the reaction might not come back as smooth and as soft as it comes from, a woman.
Talk about your hiring process then. Like, what is that process for hiring? Let's talk, specifically about the project coordinators. So
typically a lot of people come to us, I don't honestly know how that all works. So, but I want to pretend like I do.
I like how you started to answer and then just
like, you know what? I'm going back in my lane.
Yeah, going back in my lane. But basically, Kelly and Heather will interview them. They come a lot from all over the country. So coming from California is a huge negative for me. Like if you're like, oh, I'm from California, from Beverly Hills, I grew up here, I love design. It's like, ow. But opposed to someone like, we've got people all over the country. Like, I'll tell you my states here. I've got Stephanie's from Detroit, right? Michigan. Brittany's from Illinois. No S, right? I always say the S. Kelly's from Ohio, sorry. Kristen's from Delaware. Got that one, right? Justine's from Boston, right? So we have all these, everyone that comes, they follow us on Instagram and they inquire and they just say, listen, I don't have any friends or people, but I love this, the brand you're doing. I love the story. I want to be a part of it. And they just get all their shit and move out. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome. I mean,
yeah. And the work ethic's insane. I mean, the work ethic of the Midwest women is insane.
So we did an inquiry about, hiring somebody, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago, we ended up hiring people. And I did get a bunch of people from out of state. And I just felt, Benny and myself, my partner, was just like, I don't feel okay with having someone make this jump if it doesn't work out where they don't work out for us. You get me? And they have family, husband, wife, kids. I had a really hard time even entertaining the idea of hiring someone from out of state where they're going to be displaced and then I'm going to feel like a burden. I'm going to try and make it work. When in reality it's a business, and if it doesn't work early, I got to cut the slack then and move on. Like, what's it? You don't feel that way, or?
No, I mean, that's what I did. I just drove down there. I just drove down in a pickup truck. I didn't know anybody, so I can't relate. Doesn't work out, Gotta,
Yeah. Did you have a family at the time? Does anybody that's come over here to your company had a family already started?
Well, no, you're asked about the coordinators. So no, none of the coordinators. They're all pretty much came. Everyone came by themselves, Well, you were at House, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no one's ever been really had. They're younger women, so but when it comes to a project manager, if someone were to inquire and say, I'm moving my whole entire family here from, somewhere in the country, I would not feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, I don't want that on my plate, like on my conscience.
No. That's what's great about having a bunch of really strong women around me, is that I hate conflict. And I will, to the detriment of myself, my business, and everyone around me, I will make something work because I don't want the conflict. Like, hey, man, it's not working out. Like, oh, yeah, this is going great, I guess. And then the guy leaves, and I was like, that guy's got to go. He's get him out of here. So then I'll go outside and be like, hey, I thought it was working out, but I guess apparently it's not, so you got to go.
Everyone listens to this is like, okay, it's going to happen when I walk out the door. That's when he's going to say.
That actually just happened recently. So.
Yeah, I mean John, we've talked about it, and I've actually had a few people reach out about relocating, and Tom, who's not with us anymore, he moved back, but he moved out, and I mean he was moving out here for school, but there's been multiple opportunities, and I think the question I would ask is, the hiring process is the same, right? Like, you're still doing the phone call. They're probably flying out there to meet you in person. I mean, that process, you're ultimately the decision maker on whether or not they get hired. Is that right? And I'm talking about like the whole company, not just coordinators.
Yes, but I like to say that I am, but I'm really not. I mean, the group, when you're dealing with a group of strong people around you, the group kind of decides what the direction is, because I don't want to upset the group,
So how's that process? Do they meet the whole group?
They meet everyone, because for us it's rare that we have very, very little turnover, and for someone to come in and they have a bad personality, or they have a weird vibe about them, it could literally upset all the workings, personalities of everyone in the company, right? So
it's like a virus.
Yeah, it's like a virus. And so if someone comes in, it sounds funny, but we'll have them sit in the conference room, and we just bring everybody in, like, and it's like our interviews are wild. Like, I'm sure, like,
is it everybody at the same time? Because that'd be intimidating.
So yeah, like five at one time, and they'll just see if we can rattle them and see if we can get them to see how it works out. But I get pinched all the time, like, oh, you can't ask that question. It's like, well, in the work here, I can ask that question. Like, it's against the law. You can't ask all these questions, But like, I want to know questions like how old are you? How do you have any kids? Do you what these are questions I want to know. And I ask a lot more questions than that, and I get the pinch sometimes. But it's for me, my most important part about bringing a new person on is just bombarding them with everyone in my office to say, like, here's everyone, here's us. We're a huge family. Like, you sure you want this? Like, we're a great family, but we all got our issues, But we all love each other. We have a great time. And we all cover for each other because we have, like anything else, with 24 people, verse 5, right? Verse 1, you have, every of your 5 people have a possibility someone of the relatives is going to pass away, could get sick, could have a problem, could have extended leave or something, have an opportunity to go do something they need to go to pursue. You've got that times 5, I've got times 24, right? So what we do as a group is we've got, incredible, no one has any beef or bad blood if someone has to go for something. Like, someone's got to go to,
Take your finger off the mic.
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
Is that Lucia?
Yeah, that's better.
It was muffled.
Oh, sorry. So everyone's got, someone has to go and take care of someone that's ill or a family member or do something. So there's never, and that's the best part about our operation is that everyone covers, right? Because like having a baby, right? That's the most magical, greatest experience that any of us on earth are blessed with, is having a child. I don't want to have my, Stephanie's pregnant. Yeah, Stephanie, she's trying to have a baby.
Congrats.
But we don't want Stephanie to be stressed out. We want to have to take as long as you need. If you need 3 months, 4 months, we're going to cover for you. We're going to make it happen. And we want everyone to experience life, whether it's birth, death, sickness, whatever it is. So there's never any animosity or bad blood like that person's been gone for 4 months. It's like, hey, that could be me. At least I'm not carrying that burden. And everyone carries each other's slack. So that's kind of what you said before. What's too much or what's not enough? It's like I want to always be able to have enough that we can cover each other and be with each other.
That's awesome.
With respects to that, is everyone's salary?
Everyone's salary. That's right. But there's no enforcement of hours. Everyone just, it's like a pack mentality, the herd. Everyone kind of just.
That's California.
I'm not someone's mom. I'm not trying to tell you to clean your room or some shit. It's just, everyone knows the task at hand. If you want this business to succeed, whether you're the quarterback, the block, I don't know anything about sports, the blocker, whatever, the freaking the guy that catch the ball, all that shit. No matter who you are, if the blocker guy is like sucks, right, and he's like like asleep because he didn't do his push-ups, and the guy blasts over him, that knocks the quarterback over, and then busts his ass and can't throw the ball. Well, then everyone loses the whole game, right? Because the guy didn't do his push-ups. Like, do the push-ups, man. Get big, get large. Figure it out so we don't get the guy that gets his ass busted and we don't lose the game.
Carry your weight.
Who's making sure that
was a pretty elegant analogy.
So how are you tracking like the success? Like, what is, say someone's not doing the push-ups, what is the ramifications for that?
They get fired.
It's just, if work isn't getting done, it's fire.
It's like Survivor. It's just like Survivor, man. Everyone starts talking, little side conversations.
It's like Survivor.
It is.
You are over 40. You're right.
Little groups start talking. Did you see she didn't show up until 9 o'clock every single day? Did you see she left her cup in the break room? Did you see that he didn't do his weekly update? Did you see that he spoke badly to Christine or to Justine? Did you see that he mouthed off or didn't? So all these little conversations start happening, and I hear them all, and I got to go talk to them. Did you say something to her that and he's like, well, she took it the wrong way, and so I have to break. I gotta do the bridge the fatwa, everyone's friends again and everyone's happy. But basically, it's a herd mentality. It's a pack. So everyone knows that they have to do what they have to do to succeed, right? And it's very evident. If you're not making your meeting agendas, where is her meeting agenda? She didn't make it. Well, why not? I don't know, she's lazy. I don't know what else the problem is. Why is this guy's project, every single month, we're not billing enough fee on this project? Why is it going so slow? I don't know, guy's lazy. Doesn't want to call the subs. I don't know. So it's real quickly evident because we've got so much data with operations and coordination and people, you can't hide. You can't hide anywhere. You can't not do the work. It's all evident.
So how's the review process? Like, are you just every 6 months? It's a lot of employees. I feel like you're doing a review every month.
It's kind of like Wild West. It's just one of those things where it's if someone's doing a really good job, we start everyone off at the same pay grade to start, and then we just radically elevate you. Because I mean, you really are an asset.
Everyone throughout the whole company, no matter your role.
Everyone that starts, no matter if you're the project manager started at a certain rate, the coordinator started at a certain rate, and everyone basically starts there. And then after 6 months, you get your first review. And then if you're kicking ass, we just radically just ramp your way up, because cost of living in California is a lot, right?
That's crazy. Yeah.
So you're barely making enough money to survive at the starting rate. But then the second that we know that you can do it, and we know that, because you have an interview with somebody, right? Here's always the same, right? They gave me the resume, right? It's got like all this, like 7 pages long of all the stuff they've done. They've like,
strike one.
I grab the resume and I throw it in the trash, and I go, "Oh, that's a lie," because I used to lie on my resumes all the time. I don't believe any of that shit. So let's talk about this for a second. So they proceeded. I said, "Tell me about yourself." Like, "Oh, I'm so badass. I can build this house, and I built this. I built the hillside like it was perfect, and 400-foot cranes, and everyone calling me how badass I am." And everyone's the same every interview. Every single person is the baddest ass guy you've ever met in your entire life. And then, you put them out there, and then can they handle, the fast pace that we're at? Can they operate a computer? Can they, do weekly updates? Can they, stick to the schedule? Can they call the subs without fist fighting them? These are all things that work out in the first, 4 to 6 months, where it's a lot of, it's not like a middle. It's not like, you kind of did a good job, so there's kind of a raise. It's like, it didn't work out, sorry. Or like, boom, you're in the show. And then we stack them with projects, give them a huge raise, and go.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's just like, I don't know. I'm sitting here wanting to ask more questions, but I'm still trying to digest everything that you've already said.
Did you
I'm a pretty intense dude.
Did you grow up in California?
Yeah, in the Bay Area, in Cupertino, south of San Francisco, about an hour south of San Francisco.
And then you lived up that way until you started residential?
I lived up in California until college. I went to school in Colorado. Fort Collins, and then I went back to San Francisco and lived in the city for 2 years, and then that's when the whole .com blew up. That's when I came down here.
Colorado State.
That's me. Yeah, go Rams.
Oh, I was a CU Buffalo.
Well, that's
Not
good.
Good. I was only for a year. I was a science major, and then I realized I didn't want to be a scientist.
That's good.
So I got out. How old are your kids? Am I allowed to ask that?
Yeah,
somebody's pinching me.
All the time. I ask people all the time. I've got a 12-year-old daughter, and I've got twin 8-year-old daughters. So all girls. I've got a mother-in-law that's all at my house all the time. My mom at my house all the time. My wife, my 3 daughters. I got a female dog, a female cat, and I got 7 chickens.
All girls.
Yeah, all girls.
Are your twins identical or fraternal?
Fraternal.
I got 2 girls. Girls are way better anyway, and a girl dog. Anything that I get is usually a girl.
Yeah, it's better that way.
They
tell you what to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I get yelled at a lot, though.
When
by the chickens?
By my wife, and my kid, and my mother-in-law, and my mom.
I was actually going to ask about this. In one of your videos, you talk about that you're available, your cell phone number 24/7. Call me anytime. I'll answer it. There's no dividing between work and personal life.
Did it last night. My client had bad water pressure, and her husband texted me a picture that they're having their son's birthday. The water was like dribbling out of the faucet, and it was like 7 o'clock at night. And he said, "What the hell? This is bullshit. Like, what's going on with this?" And so I said, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And then so I went down there. It was actually my daughter's birthday last night as well. That's why I know she's 12. She turned 12 yesterday. And so I left my daughter's party. You know, my wife didn't like that. But I went down there. It's only, 5 minutes away. Went down to Balboa Island and, figured out what's going on. And her pool guy had left the autofill on in their pool. So all the water pressure was down because their pool was overflowing, but you couldn't tell because it was draining into the bay.
Well, the reason
turned the water pressure on. She slapped me 5 and said, thank you so much for coming. This is why we hired you. And the husband said, I can't believe you came to my house. That's kind of weird. And then I got in my car and left. And then I was home within 30 minutes. And I still got my ass kicked when I got home.
That's why I ask is like we talk about this a lot, and one thing that I've implemented is I have a separate phone now because it was getting to a point, and I think this comes with what about a bad client? Like, and I'll use my example for reference. Sunday morning I woke up, I have this text from a client that essentially ruins my day because they're bitching about something that we're in progress with the job. They're bitching about it. It's unwarranted. It doesn't make sense for them to be bitching about it. And they're basically like, this is ridiculous. You need to get over here immediately and fix it. And it's like, we don't. We're in the middle of a project, and regardless of the problem, obviously we're going to fix it. We're not done. But to me, it was becoming this reoccurring thing where then clients would just, text or call at, off hours, and I would feel as though I was distracted when, at the time I had a 1-year-old daughter and I had another kid on the way, and it was like I felt as though my attention was being drawn away from my kids, and I was giving more attention to my clients at that point. And that's why I asked the question. It's like I'm trying to define that, where it's when I'm home, I'm home. When I'm at work, I'm at work, and there is no intermingling of the two. And you're wildly in the other direction, and and
but
I know
aren't we also interrupting their lives? Like all weekend, all week, like they can't get away from us either. So did they have a right to be able to reach out?
Yeah, I think that's what Andrew said. Is like, forget the marriage. You had a baby with them, and you guys you nurture the baby together. I think about. Right. I had one client. It was like Saturday. It was Friday night. It was 6:30, and they're like, "This is bullshit. My fireplace won't turn on." And we've been waiting all weekend to turn the fireplace on. And I drive over there, and I get in the place. I walk in. I grab the remote. It turns right on. They didn't know how to turn it on. And it's
so the answer to that is to get a separate phone?
No, that wasn't the answer to that. The answer, I felt as though I was dedicating too much time to my phone and my clients, and I wasn't spending enough time with my kids. That's why I got the other phone. And it would put me in a bad mood where it's like, now this client's texting me, putting me in a bad mood, and my kid screams, and I'm like, I'm not yelling at my kid, but when it's more aggravating that the kids are screaming at the top of their lungs than if I wasn't already aggravated by something outside of work. I don't know.
It's probably
we
I
go
think
back
it's probably
and forth on
personality type as well. I react the same way. If I get a customer, I'm dealing with a much smaller scale, but if I get a customer who's getting a hold of me on a Sunday about something that's an issue, I don't have an ability to just drop that at that point, so it can easily ruin my day, and that's just a personality type. So I think that if that's the system that you need to put into place to prevent you from getting upset or to protect you or your family from getting upset, then I think that that's definitely what you need to do. I don't have the amount of customers that you guys do, so usually if it's something that's bothering me, I'll just let it go until the next day without even responding. I think that it all depends on how you react or how your ability or inability to deal with it.
No, that's Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler's Wi-Fi's
banged
up.
I don't know. I just that's a sensitive question for me. It's like the hardest part of my life is that question. And that's the question that keeps me up at night.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, would you consider separating that and putting
you
in?
can't. It's not possible. It's not. When you live here and you've got people who are living in a $38 million house or a $20 million house and they spent $10 million building it with you. Unfortunately, there's no separate phone in my life. It just can't be done. And there are memories that I've missed, and it sucks. And it's honestly one of those things that keeps me up at night. It's like, am I sacrificing? Is it selfish of me to sacrifice enjoyment with my family to have to always be on call? But what gets me through it is that, and what you said about the guy you're pissed off the rest of the day, I get stuff like that all the time. Like people send me a picture of their faucet, like not draining properly or running properly, or their wash machine makes funny noise. I can't believe this is terrible. But you get these texts that they could, and it sets you off. And you'll be trying to enjoy a moment with your kids, your wife. It's special, and all of a sudden, this
Right.
text comes through, and like it just destroys every emotion you have because you just get angry inside, right? But on the flip side, it's like when my mind starts spinning at nighttime. It's like there's no stimulation. I'm sitting, my mind's racing, and what gets me through it is I start thinking, well, this business is great, because I can pick up my kids from school. I can drop them off at school. Every project that I have the farthest one is 5 miles from my house. I don't have to go on work trips. I don't have to leave and go places for weeks at a time. So on one hand, I'm always there. I'm always present with my family. But unfortunately, on the other hand, I'm not always present with my family. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue that we always discuss, that physically you have an ability to be present, but even though you're physically present there, are your kids picking up on the fact that you're emotionally detached because your mind's somewhere else?
Correct.
But I love what Andrew's saying is that, like, I get the benefit of coaching my kids' sports, where a lot of parents don't have the ability to do that. So that might mean I might boot off on a Saturday afternoon to go fix something. I mean, I guess my question to you, Andrew, is did that phone call go to someone else first, didn't pick up, and then
No.
they went to
No, but I had the choice. I've got people that would go handle that. So last night at 7:00 at night, I had the choice to pick up the phone and text one of 5 people to go handle that situation, right? But I was the closest, right? I'm literally 5 minutes away. So in that situation, I was the closest, and I was the one that, like I said about the block or whatever, I was the person in the right place, the right time to take that call.
And,
okay?
and most importantly, probably the most qualified to handle that situation.
Yeah, I mean, when there's some water pressure issue, you don't know what everyone's going to try to figure out what's going on. But so anyone can handle it. But like what I'm saying is like sort of a team mentality is that the reason why that our platform and our company is successful, because I'm the same as everyone else. I have a family. Stephanie's got a family. All my guys have families. Someone's gonna have to go down to that house. It was just my turn, I guess. I just looked at it being my turn. I haven't been in a while. I might as well just go down and check it out. So
I guess I didn't know if there was a process, meaning they would go to the coordinator or they'd ping the PM, or who, like at that stage, it would go to the app.
No, that's not an app. That's not a warranty issue or a custom care issue. That was a full-blown warranty issue. Something was wrong. Something was actively wrong with the process of the house. Like something with the house was wrong. There was no water pressure. So, all my clients have my cell phone because like you said before about, am I giving my clients 100%? Every one of my clients has my cell phone. They call me and talk to me all the time, whether it's a new build in the pre-construction, during construction, or post-construction. I develop relationships with these people because I'm not dealing with anything like like we said before, the minutia. We'll use that again.
Great word.
I'm only dealing with emotional consideration and contact because we're having this kid. I'm developing a relationship. So when something bad happens, I am the first person that gets called.
So Nick, let's play this back the other way.
Yeah.
He has 2 phones. That phone shut off that would receive that call. What happens in this situation if you don't solve it and it doesn't get received by you?
I know
anybody Saturday night and Sunday.
I had this conversation with my our client from last year, and she's she understands why we did it, but she's like, we'd like to buy into this maintenance program, but if we're going to do that, I'd like to have access to a number I can call 24 hours a day. Because if I lose heat on Christmas, like last year, they lost heat. And she's like, I don't want to have to. Where did you get pizza?
My kid crawled over here and
slid it in.
Yeah.
I'm starving over here. But she did. She was like, I would, can we set up, are you thinking about setting up a call service? You think of like a drain guy, right? When you have a drain, you call, they're like, oh yeah, this is a call service. We're going to call Greg. He should call you back in 5 minutes. We've thought about that. And the more I think about it, the more impersonal that sounds. And it just doesn't, it is. Andrew,
There's
I'm
a
with you.
massive system that you need to set up in order to have that. Because if you say that you're going to be able to do that,
right?
You don't have the plumber, electrician, all those guys that are also
on
call. Right. Then it's expectation again.
I'm right there with you, Andrew. It's the hardest question, and what I'm doing with the 2 phones, I don't know if it makes a ton of sense.
I would if I had to give you any advice, I would say don't have 2 phones because it's gonna depersonalize you from your clients.
Yeah, and that's my biggest fear, and that has been something that I've learned. Anytime that I have removed myself from the equation, I've learned that I can't. And not that my guys are doing a bad job, but there's the level of the involvement that they're expecting of me. And right. I'm trying to actively remove that, and it's like, well, then I'll work with someone else.
I thought about this a lot, and Tyler, you brought up a great point of personality. I find myself at night, like put the kids down, I turn immediately back on to work. So then I have to stop myself from pinging people. So yeah. I am an absolute culprit of this and probably a driving force where why is it that maybe that one Saturday I want to myself, but yet all week, 9, 10, 11 o'clock or whatever, I'm pinging people or I wake up at 3 a.m. and I want to shoot that text off at 4 because I waited an hour. It's like I am an absolute a person at fault. So I how do I say don't do that to me? But I am absolutely have something on my mind, want to shoot that email off, and I don't want to say, hey, you don't have to answer this. That's such a false statement.
I mean, the other thing is even you hear a lot of people who say, all right, no text messages between customers at this point. Like you can't text me, you have to pick up your phone, call me, email me. But there's so many times where I wanna say that, but there's so many times where it's just so easy to text a customer for an answer and not have to shoot them an email, wait for a response, or get on a phone call with them. So it's tough to implement those ideas and those rules if you're not willing to kind of walk that same line yourself.
I just think that if you all weigh the pros of what we all get to do every day,
yeah,
the cons of the fact that you have to do it, that you can never walk away from it. I think the pros well outweigh the cons. And so, the memories of my kids and things like that, those are what keep me up at night. But in the same regard, it's like, all of us, we're so blessed to be able to build, to be able to interact with these great clients, to be interact with these subcontractors, to be able to create things that we can, when we die, and we'll all still be there, Yeah. NS Builders built my staircase, whether you've been dead for 100 years. It was an NS Builder staircase. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm walking on the treads that Nick built with his own hands. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, we're very, I don't know, we're not producing, and that's what I was saying before about the revolution about what we do and why it's so important that guys like Nick keep the momentum going on how cool it is to do what we do. is that we're not like transactional people, like making some money on somebody else. Like, oh, I'm making like 5 points on this transaction to sell this loan to this guy. Like, I don't even know what half the hell people do around here. Like I'm a bond broker, manager, fund developer. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't understand what that means.
More importantly,
like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Is like, I built that house. That's what I did.
More importantly, what do your kids think of what you do?
Oh, yeah. They walk down all the streets. They love it. They, oh, my dad built that, or he built this and he built that. And they go through all my kids on the weekends, I'll bring them along with me to the job sites. They love it, meet the clients. They love it. And, it's so I think going back to it all, to kind of tie it all back together is that, one phone is the way to go. Be on call. Don't lose the good and the bad. Don't lose sight of that relationship. It's kind of like, think about it this way, Nick, if and this is kind of what having the turn your phone off thing is, your wife has a problem with your child, but she can't get a hold of you because your second phone is off, right? But your daughter's got like 108-degree fever, and maybe all you tell her that she got a shot that day for her whatever, her MMR shot, whatever. So she has a fever, but your wife thinks she's, got some problems because she knows she had an MMR shot. You took her to the doctor. But if you answer the phone, you could say, hey, listen, the fever's not a big deal. She got an MMR shot. But she has no way of knowing that because you just can't answer that phone. So think of that child as the client saying, I can't turn my fireplace on. And they want to enjoy that memory with their family, sitting by the fire, and the damn thing won't turn on. And it's a matter of you just saying, hey, hit the right red button on the left side of the fireplace, it'll come right on. The same way I went to people's house last night and just hit one knob and turn off their autofill, and now they're back in action enjoying their party with their son. So I don't know who's right, who's wrong, what the answer is. But
I don't know if there is a right or wrong, because even in this situation that you had last night, if you were to ask your kids, or if it were the same situation for me and it was one of my daughter's birthdays, and I asked them, would you rather me stay here at your birthday or go take care of something for work? And obviously there's reasons why we do it, and we all do it. We put our customers before ourselves, before our family all the time. But a lot of that's our own choice, and it's not necessarily taking into consideration what's best for our kids or our family. So I don't know if there's necessarily a right or a wrong in this situation. It depends on who you ask and what their perspective is.
I also think that what I asked Nick was, what happens if Andrew doesn't go to that situation, and then that compounds and compounds and compounds, and then you go to work on Monday. You might
say it wasn't draining into the bay. Say it was draining into their basement.
But then Monday rolls around.
Oh, I had one of those.
You could be devoting the next 4 days or weeks, or even with an attorney, to deal with this, even though you unplugged with your clients, your kids, for a couple of minutes or whatever for the day. Trust me, we all get those. I don't think anyone's going to be immune to the ridiculous text that's nothing. I don't know if you're going to get callous to it and then just laugh about, hey, maybe when my son's 13 tomorrow, I'll be like, this idiot, asking me what's wrong with the GFI, and I send a photo of a GFI, push the button with your pen or whatever. But I think it's just going to happen. But I just think that if you've asked me before, would you, if the house is burning down, would you save it? That's an extreme, but you gave it to me and it stuck with me. And I'm like, no, but maybe I could have prevented something in a minute.
Or you could be there for them emotionally.
Support,
and like, I get it.
We are in that relationship, and I want that over that hour long of whatever it is, watching a movie with my kid, and I look down at my phone and go, oh, geez. Or I'm coaching, and I'm like, oh, man,
but like
sucks.
if you're looking at that from the extreme or the polarizing point of view, put that into effect with the polarizing or an extreme example with your family. Yeah. What if you leave the birthday party and then something happens, and then you never forgive yourself? I mean, if you're going to look at it in one light in an extreme example, you got to look at it under the same light in another example. And maybe Nick doesn't go to a call and he stays home when somebody comes to try and break into his house. I mean, it's an extreme example again.
He's not going to do anything if someone breaks into his house.
But like, you know,
Be
what if
honest.
something happens, then
Kung
you
fu
have
fighting.
regrets for such a long time. I think that, you know, your customer's house catching on fire is just as much of an example or that to happen as something happening on a personal level. So
I think
You're right.
to your point, Tyler, it's like it's not. There's no right or wrong. It's preference, really,
Yep.
and what makes the most sense for you, your company, and what you find what you deem is valuable to your clients.
I mean, if I had a $20 million project, I'd probably sleep at the customer's house, so I can't really speak to, you know, Andrew's situation. I mean, I'd probably get them there. They'd have a cell phone just for them. I'd have a cell phone just for them, you know?
The bat
But
phone.
I don't have those kind of customers, so.
Well, Andrew, this conversation was fantastic. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
How's your shoulder? You've been holding a phone for the last 2.5
I know.
hours.
So I have it propped up here. See, so I'm just chilling out here. Yeah, I'm good.
Well, when this whole COVID thing is passes, maybe we'll swing out and hang out in the boat.
Yeah. I don't have a boat. Only my clients do. If I had a boat,
You have a little boat on your website.
Oh,
Isn't that
what
for
the-
photos or something?
Oh no, that's for that's our little that's a little Boston whaler. It's a little boat for building seawalls and ferrying people across the jobs. We have a lot of projects like so in Newport Beach. It's in the summertime. This whole area shuts down with all the traffic, with all the people. So we have projects that are literally 200 yards away from other projects across the bay, but you can't get like the drive to them would take like an hour and a half. So the boat just goes back and forth and shuttles the PMs back and forth. So it's just a little thing to get. It's a little bay transport. That's all it is. You wouldn't go in the open ocean that thing. You'd be crazy.
Listen, if you need a hype man or a boat captain, I'm your guy.
All right, good. I appreciate it. I need a hype man. So it was really great. Thanks so much, and Nick, please keep up the good work on the Instagram, man. You're changing everything. You're changing you're making it cool to me to be a general contractor, man. You're making
Thank you,
it cool.
sir. Make sure you follow John and Tyler because they're doing the same thing, and that's why we're here as a trio on the Modern Craftsman.
Stephanie just informed me see that's the difference is that and Pat 75, that's me who follows you.
Ah,
Patterson Custom Homes also follows you, and so that's the thing you understand is that like it's all like smoke and mirrors. Like I don't do the Instagrams. That's Patterson Custom Homes Instagram right there. All the likes, the reviews, all the comments, correspondence. That's it right there. Even though it comes from me, it's from her. So, but now that I have John Tyler, I'm definitely gonna request you. So we see Ann Pat 75 coming after you tonight. It's not some weirdo. It's me. Okay.
So do you want us to bleep that out, or do you want everyone who listens to this podcast to have your personal Instagram?
Bleep it out. What's that even mean?
Do you want people to know your personal Instagram handle
Why?
so they can follow you?
They say write my name in. Same thing.
I mean,
I don't care.
I know your customers have it, but
It's all private anyways. I don't care.
all right, then we're good.
Yeah. Okay.
Andrew-
Yeah. When I get some guy from Bangladesh trying to befriend me in the middle of the night on Tuesday,
Nick,
like, what's all this guy?
Nick, you'll be getting an email from Stephanie in roughly 8 minutes.
So,
All right, man.
great guys. All right. Well, I look forward to hopefully doing this again and meeting you again in person, Nick. Whenever you want to come to California, we got this nice back unit on the beach. If you want to come stay here for a couple nights.
Done. See you, man. Have a good night.
See you guys. Keep talking to
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, so no reviews, no questions this week. However, we did record 2 this week, so if you did leave a review or question and don't hear it on this podcast, you're going to hear it on the next one, which will be released next week. And who did we have on that again? Trevor
Holtz.
Trevor Holtz. So stay tuned for that episode, and we'll see you guys next week.